go further, much further than Lenin. He wanted to rewrite history and his determination was absolute.
We Bolsheviks, we are a special breed. The others have no value, they are not worth a dime. Do not doubt it, comrades. To the working class, I am ready to devote all my strength and every drop of my blood.
Stalin wanted a clean slate of the past. He abruptly wiped out the traces of old Russia that the revolution had spared. He passed a decree saying religion is against the interests of the people. Across the country, he removed the old Orthodox icons before destroying them. In place of the old order, he had a radical project which was Here are the only photos left of his wife, Nadezhda. She was a former wrestling comrade, 22 years his junior. He had 2 children with Nadezhda, Vasily and Svetlana. He devoted little time to them, but on his little girl, he demonstrated a real fascination.
I miss you, Dad. I don't care if the whole world hates me. If Dad asks me to go to the moon, I will.
A few photos show us Stalin in his moments of relaxation. During summer vacation, when he takes his deputies on the Black Sea in party villas. Ekaterina Voroshilov, the wife of one of his lieutenants, remembers that from leaving their villages to get to the big cities. In good conscience, he condemned to death 5 million people, half of whom were children. It's one of the greatest massacres of the century. At the same time, the French deputy Edouard Herriot arrived in Ukraine invited by the Soviet government.
I make ardent wishes for the prosperity of the Russian people. And I hope that my trip will be useful for their happiness and the people's peace.
The Frenchman and the delegation who accompanied him visited Ukraine by train. He is pleased with the trip.
I crossed Ukraine. I can assure you that I saw it like a garden in full yield. There are only kolkhoz gardens, irrigated and admirable crops. While it is said that Ukraine is being ravaged by famine, allow me to shrug my shoulders.
How could the Frenchman miss out on millions of deaths? In fact, the streets were cleaned prior to his arrival. The workers that he met were extras. We brought in food. Edouard Herriot was fooled by propaganda. In Moscow, Stalin's rule is full of lies. In 1938, he attacked his closest partner in the fight, his dear Bukharin. He's been a friend for 15 years. but he dared contradict him several times. In his eyes, he became an enemy. To prepare for the fall of this great figure in the regime, it started the steamroller propaganda. Across the country, we are of the opinion that
these conspiracies were fiercely committed by the agents of capitalism, dogs of fascism, none other than Bukharin and his crew.
Comrades, what I have to tell you was confirmed by Stalin. Our country is surrounded by enemies who want to destroy our country and our people.
Death to these enemies, death to these parasites.
During this time at Lubyanka, the headquarters of the secret police, Bukharin is being tortured. In a letter, he implores his old friend Stalin.
I am writing you this letter, which is probably the last. My heart bleeds at the thought that you may think that I am guilty. I am ready to drag myself on my knees and implore you to drop this trial for me.
Stalin is far from imagining that a threat from the West will soon threaten his regime. In Germany, the Nazi Party has been in power for over 5 years now. He advocates superiority of the Germanic race. As leader, Chancellor Adolf Hitler, just like Stalin, has established a dictatorial regime. He had already annexed Austria. He wanted to seize all of its neighboring countries, including France. But most of all, he dreamt of attacking the Soviet Union and to annex its territory for the benefit of the German people.
The mission of the Nazi movement is to destroy Judeo-Bolshevism. Destroying Russia will give the German people a vital space the masters need to eat. My ambition is to be the man who will break Marxism.
Stalin finally realized the threat. But too late.
Get the cavalry.
To make up for the delay, Stalin needs some time. In August 1939, he managed to get along at the last minute with Ribbentrop, Hitler's ambassador to Moscow. The two giants signed a non-aggression agreement just a few days before triggering the World War. An unnatural agreement, which has a lot of ulterior motives, but which gives Stalin a break.
It's all just a game about who gets the other one up their sleeve. You'll see, Russia will succeed to avoid war with Germany for a while longer.
A week later, September 1st, 1939, the German army attacked Poland. It's the start of the Second World War. In a few weeks, the Nazis crushed the Polish army and won a resounding victory. The first out of many. 8 months later, in May 1940, Hitler attacked from the west and occupied France in less than 2 months. He enforced his law in the half of Europe. Military occupation, racial persecutions, and political repression. In the meantime, Stalin did not remain inactive. In favor of the pact signed with Hitler, he conquered new territories. In the winter of 1941, he still thinks is safe from a conflict with Germany. But this time he is wrong. It's at that moment that Hitler decided to realize his old dream. Destroy the Soviet Union.
They are leaving us to die.
Symbol of defeat, Stalin's eldest son, Yakov, was captured as a prisoner while on the run disguised as a peasant. At the back, Russia is in shock. In order to understand, the population is running to get the newspapers. Everyone is waiting for Stalin's reaction. But it's not coming. Muscovites, like young Gainer, want to know more.
We're glued to the radio. We are waiting for Stalin's speech. We need to hear his voice. But he is silent. It's Molotov, his deputy, who is talking. Everyone is listening. We are told that we're in the middle of war. But where is Stalin?
Stalin is entrenched behind the walls of the Kremlin. It is annihilated. Stalin decided to avenge Stalingrad and destroy Berlin. In front of such firepower, Germany finished by capitulating on the 8th of May 1945. Two months later, Generalissimo Stalin arrived in the German capital to celebrate his victory. In this famous propaganda movie, we welcomed Hitler's conqueror like a messiah. In fact, it's fiction where the role of Stalin is played by a lookalike. This masterful arrival never happened. Stalin was scared of flying. And contrary to these images, he hated crowds.
Comrades, today, we are celebrating the big victory on fascist Germany.
The real Stalin took an armored train to Potsdam, in the suburbs of Berlin, where 5,000 police officers were mobilized for his arrival. He was obsessed with the attacks. If he agreed to leave his country for the first time in 30 years, it's because the opportunity was worth it. He had appointments around the negotiation table with his American and British allies. Since the Yalta Conference, he asked for half of the European territory. That is all the countries that his army had liberated during the war. Stalin's demand was accepted by the Allies. Soviet rule from Eastern Europe was set to begin. It will last nearly half a century. In France, communists who fought against the Nazis during the war still worship Stalin. In 1949, he celebrated his 70th birthday. Gifts were sent from everywhere to the Kremlin, so did tremolos. The man behind the voice, the poet Paul Eluard, explained.
In this small workshop from Belleville, the workers spent 300 hours manufacturing with care a gift for Stalin. Their gift was a minute tour.
Despite the evidence, the horror of the Stalinist system was still silenced.
We have not forgotten what we went through during the Nazi occupation. It is necessary to understand that one of our comrades was interned. Another man's son fell into the clandestine struggle. The wife and the daughter of our director were deported.
Without the victory of Stalingrad, our village Grigny would have still been occupied by the Nazis.
Like all of France and Europe. Therefore, we all, peasants from Grigny, we wish a happy birthday and long life to Generalissimo Stalin, who freed us with his victory.
We wish long life to a clear-sighted guide to the working class, to Stalin.